Well, welcome to today's rant, and it's going to be a short one, straight to the point, which I'm going to try to do more of with my rants. But the big election, midterm election last night, the results were a split decision. Nobody can claim total victory. There were some victories on both sides. I believe the split decision is going to continue the split in our country. We were hoping for a resolution that would begin to resolve that split, but not so. I think we've got a couple of more years minimum of intense discussions and debates. Trouble is, one side won't debate, they'll just scream and holler. But anyway, that being what it is, I think there are certain things that as a country we're destined to wrestle with, to work out, to find solutions and resolutions to. And, actually, there have been times in our history when it's been even more vicious than it is right now. They said the first 10 years after the ratifying of the Constitution, they said the first 10 years of our history was basically a big shouting match. And then we have the Civil War, obviously never been a greater time of division in our history. Pray that we don't have to have any semblance of that again to resolve our issues, but some things are worth fighting for. That to rid this country of the evil of slavery was worth fighting for. It had to be fought for. If it couldn't be, a resolution found peacefully. But anyway, my opinion, Trump did better than he really could have hoped or expected. Incredible increase of seats in the Senate, and that if I had the choice of increasing the margin in the Senate or keeping the House, I would have chosen increasing the margin in the Senate. There are a number of reasons for this. The House has been an obstructionist to Trump anyway. And the poor leadership, the disgraceful House leadership that promised 10 years ago, if we would put them in power, that they would do things like defund Planned Parenthood. They're still funding it with your tax dollars, things like that. And I think one reason the House lost last night was lost control. I believe it was because a lot of Republicans are even angrier at the House leadership, present leadership, than they were at the Democrats. Democrats are doing what you expect them to do, but we feel betrayed by the House leadership, and now's a chance for a new breed of leader to arise in the House. And if it does, and if it is courageous and resolute in keeping their promises to the American people for putting them in power, I would predict a strong victory and a retaking of the House in 2020. I think also this is a setup for Trump in 2020. He can accomplish most of his aims, doesn't need the House for it. There are going to be blockages on a lot of things, but some of the main things he needs to do right now, he needs the Senate. He needs the Senate to approve his judges, his foreign policy. If ever there are treaties and agreements, he needs them to approve the appointments. And I think he has got such a majority there now, and some of the flakes, no pun intended, on the Republican senators are no longer there. There's some potential for some real accomplishments going forward, but there's certainly no room to gloat, for either party. And maybe there will be some chances to dial down the rhetoric and maybe even work together. We'll probably know in a very short period of time if that's even possible in this environment, and it may not be possible. But I think it's, and I tend to see everything that way. I'm a person, I walk by faith, I live by faith, I believe in faith, and I see what happened last night, not the best outcome we could have hoped for, but leaving a huge opportunity for the restoration of our republic and its moorings to our Constitution, that I think is the only thing that's going to save us. And also that we would, I think begin to tackle one of the greatest threats, a Damocles sword that is hanging over our nation right now, and that is our deficits. And a lot of that is just terrible, absolutely horrendous, and even criminal waste by our federal government that has to be addressed and can be addressed now. So I'm just saying, there's a lot to take positively from last night's outcome and a lot to take negatively. And I believe that when there's some losses, why do we lose? Don't gloss it over and call losses victories. That's not true. And but find out why we lost. And sometimes you're going to lose just because you're in districts or whatever where there is it's just hard to win in those. And some are because poor candidates, and some are because of a lot of people are really, really mad, still mad at our Congress and still feel betrayed by them overall because of the leadership there. There are some awesome leaders in Congress, men and women, and I think now's an opportunity maybe for them to take the lead. And if we see that happening, there is tremendous opportunity for hope and the continued restoration of our republic. So thank you for listening to today's rant. This is the day that the Lord has made, so rejoice in it and don't mess it up. Thank you. I'll talk to you again as soon as I can.